going on, YouTube? So I wanted to throw my throw my 2 cents in on this Charles Barkley and Richard Spencer uh, interview, if you want to call it that. And I'm not gonna waste no time. I'm gonna get straight into it. But what I'm gonna do is
tell me what that means.
I'm going to point out some of the things that Richard Spencer says, some of the things that Charles Barkley says, and just kind of expound on them a little bit.
I coined that term in 2008. The alt-right now is about identity politics in North America and really around the world. Okay. I want to maintain some coherence to peoples and cultures. I want a world of true diversity. I really do. I want Africans to be Africans.
Now, wait.
I want there to be an India in this world.
Okay. So basically, what he just said is that he wants there to be segregation. And to some ears, that may sound a little harsh. Being that Martin Luther King and everyone else, they marched and this, that, and third, right? They died for us to be integrated with whites. But that hasn't helped us since the civil rights movement. Integration began in what? Brown versus Board of Education, somewhat, from 1950 something up until now. Black people haven't been as productive as we could have been. Mind you, all of the inventions that black people pretty much, gave to this country were all before integration. Okay, the majority of them. We still had some inventions, some things, that we attributed, to this country's advancement after integration, but majority of those inventions were made prior to. Segregation is something that I support, and not and when we say we would like segregation for our peoples, that's not being racist. That's not being mean. What that is basically saying that we are better alone.
I want to maintain my culture. I want you to maintain yours.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying? And now, as far as white people having culture, I don't know what culture he's talking about. Unless you're talking about a culture of thieves, rapists, murderers, Neanderthals. That culture is yours. Everything else pretty much belongs to everybody else. Anything that is a part of the quote unquote white culture was stolen from other civilizations. Not just African civilization, but then again, if we want to be technical, everything came from Africa. Whether it was from Egypt, whether it was from Mali, whether it was from Gambia or Zimbabwe or wherever in Africa. The origin of everything on this planet, you could trace it back to Africa. You see what I'm saying? So, white people, I really need you to explain what culture you're talking about.
Where we are headed is towards a totally fragmenting, multiracial, multicultural, nothing country. It's a country.
And when he said that we're not beginning to fragment. We've already fragmented, and a lot of people may pay homage to Martin Luther King. They love Martin Luther King, but Martin Luther King isn't isn't everything that but Martin Luther King hurt us more than he helped us. You know what I'm saying? Right before he died, he even said that I fear that I may have integrated my people into a burning building. This is out of his own mouth. You know what I'm saying? So that means that he regretted I have a dream. Okay? A lot of white people like to throw up the I have a dream speech, integration is for us. And many of those white people and Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu even said in his book that those people that he didn't say that those people who promote integration, but what he did say in that book, which pretty much um, confirms or um, backs up what I'm about to say, is that liberals are the ones who promote that can we all just get along ideology. They want us to integrate. You've seen the movie Get Out and um, how liberals think, how liberals really feel about us. The very ones that you think are for you are actually against you. Majority of these liberals are Democrats, and that would be your Bill Clinton, your Hillary Clinton, your Bernie Sanders, those types of people. Whenever we talk about politics, there is no difference between Republican and Democrat. There is no difference between conservative and liberal. Okay, both sides um, um, are no good for black people.
Without an identity. Would you agree that the essence of American culture is that melting pot, is that coming together of people from other places? The fact is,
Now that's that bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Now that's what every single black person, not every single black person, every single white person. Nope, let me take that back. That is the mindset of every single Tom buck dancing Tom. That's the mindset of every single buck dancing Tom, or those who are just ignorant to rate the racial situations here in America. America is not about the big melting pot. You see what I'm saying? Of diversity, and that's something that we should be thankful for. No, America first and foremost is a corporation, and it benefits off of the backs of many of the people here. Chinese, you got Chinese people here, so you could probably have some kind of alliance with the Chinese. You got Arabs here. You probably have some kind of connection with the Arab nations. You have some Africans here, and you have connections with the African continent. The whole purpose of this place being what it is so that people could or so that the establishment or the white supremacist system can keep its hands in certain foreign affairs, so to speak.
the United States of America, that is a white country.
Now that's that bullshit. Now he gonna speak on it. America is not a white country. First and foremost, let's let him speak.
Anglo-Saxon Protestant whites, they defined the original America. The only true Americans are Native Americans. So everyone else immigrated here either by choice or by servitude. African Americans have been here since the 1600s. We dominated. Yes, you enslaved. Okay.
Now, the look on Richard Spencer's face, man, is priceless. But um, he's exactly right, and I love this conversation. And the reason that I love this conversation is because you're getting, you got two black people right here. I believe the other guy, his name is something Muhammad. I can't remember what his first name was, You got him, and you got Charles Barkley, and you got Richard Spencer, and you're coming from um, two different um, minds of black people. You have uh, Charles Barkley, who is the buck dancing Tom, who's really confused, and then you have Muhammad over here, who is coming from a somewhat educated Negro position.
All peoples enslaved and murdered other peoples, but white people were just really good at it. We were also.
And you see this shit now. If you actually watch the video, he has a smile on his face while saying that white people were better at killing and enslaving than other people were. He's proud of this. He's proud of this, and then you're gonna hear him say later on that he's actually that he acknowledges white privilege. You see what I'm saying? And for somebody like a Richard Spencer to actually say that white privilege does exist, whether he was being sarcastic or not, this isn't the platform to actually be to be condescending and sarcastic, because every word that you say is taken as truth. You know that this is how you really feel about this shit. You see what I'm saying?
Really good at giving them rights and so on afterward.
Now, check this out. When he said giving them rights, he's not talking about actual bills and this, that, and third that were passed through legislative and through Congress and things like that. He's not talking about that. What he's talking about is he's saying that white people domesticated other civilizations, mainly the African civilization. Now, if he would have said that, he probably would have got his face smashed. But he was real careful with his words. He didn't literally mean rights. What he meant was we domesticated them after slavery. Remember, they always thought of us as savages, as animals, as beasts, and things of that nature. And when we were brought here to this country, those of us who were brought here, because there were blacks who were already here, those blacks were enslaved as well, whether people want to admit it or not. There were Moorish slaves, or whatever, Native American slaves, here, in America or whatever, and they were treated as such. And any white person, any white racist person will tell you that we domesticated you, you animals. You have to thank us for what we did for you. Okay?
Really bothers me when we talk about the Hispanics. These people come over here, they work their asses off, they don't get paid, and they're working for white people. Now white people are coming back now and saying we need to get rid of all of them. Right. Look, I think they should just go home. We should have white people doing these jobs. But this idea that we're just going to bring in millions of day laborers and pay them $2 an hour because we don't want to get our hands dirty. I would rather hire black people, to be honest, because they're Native American citizens.
You see, now he's finishing that rhetoric that he initially started with, that we gave them rights. And basically talking about blacks, whether white people want to admit it or not in arguments. Because they love to bring up the fact that there were other people that were enslaved, and that there were also white people that were enslaved. Richard Spencer obviously does not care about those white people who were enslaved, because here's why. Richard Spencer is a white nationalist. That means that he's including all whites. Every single white person in this country, he is including them in his movement. He's including every single white person in this country in that movement. So if he's including every single white person in his movement, obviously we cannot trust every white person in this country, because we do not know if these white people that are being included in Richard Spencer's movement, because it's not just conservative and liberal. I mean, it's not just conservative, it's conservative and liberal. We cannot trust these white people in this country simply because we do not know if they share the same ideology as Mr. Richard Spencer.
To do this work. First of all, let's get one thing straight. Okay. Do you believe in white privilege? Yeah, white privilege is wonderful. I want to expand and deepen white privilege.
Now, he didn't really just go into in depth of white privilege. That's pretty much all he said concerning white privilege. But they know what white privilege is. And I'm very hesitant to speak on those things that I know for certain what is white privilege. I'm also doing the series how white folks got so rich videos, more videos coming soon on that. And that's pretty much your privilege there. That the Nation of Islam research group actually gave to, you people for $5. You know what I'm saying? So black people, please get that book so that you can see for yourself what privileges white people created for themselves.
We are living at a time in which white people are losing social dominance day by day. You're afraid of being marginalized, right? Welcome to what it feels like to be black.
Now, in case you didn't catch that, he said, now you feel like, now you know what it feels like to be black. Now, a lot of people touched on this in videos that I've seen, that Richard Spencer and people like him are in fear of their race becoming extinct. They are worried about the skin. That's what they're worried about. Now, obviously, these people, think about it. He also said from the beginning that everyone is not equal. And with this mindset, it includes skin tone, melanin, what makes your skin. Now, there are a lot of people, like Sister TT over there at the female sex, that will say that melanin is in everyone. Indeed it is. But obviously these white people who are propagating this ideology and this philosophy that they must maintain the skin tone, obviously do not care that they have melanin or the little bit of melanin that they do have. You see what I'm saying? This is the reality of society. Whether you want to believe that everyone is equal and everyone is a human being, these type of people do not. And because these type of people do not, because these white people like Richard Spencer, we have to question every other white person as well. We have to.
You don't think white folks still dominating the world? We do dominate the world to an extent. Look at the boards of directors of most corporations, tons of white people and Jews. Yes, but every day we hear, oh, isn't this great? There's more diversity in this corporation. Don't we need more people of color in films and movies? Isn't this wonderful? What is the trajectory? Where is the arrow pointing? The arrow is pointing away from white power.
Now, what we getting at here, when you think back to Richard Spencer and them having that protest in front of the conservative guy statue, and they were trying to say that this wasn't a KKK rally or something to that effect. Now, when you read in the book How White Folks Got So Rich, you will see, I forget which part that is under. I've already covered it in one of the videos that I did in that playlist. That the government actually took the place of the KKK. The government had KKK members in it. It had racist white supremacist groups in it. So there was no longer a need for a social for a subculture group like a KKK. Basically, the government, like I said, took the place of the KKK and other racist white supremacist groups. This is why when we point at the government and say that the government is the reason for this and the government is the reason for that, you have those people that pop their heads out and say things like, well, you have black people in government, and you have these people in government. So how can you say that the government is white man? The government is white man because it uses tactics from it uses learned tactics from racist white supremacist groups like the KKK.
My lifetime, what's going to probably happen is that I am going to become a minority in the United States. But what do I want for my great grandchildren? I do want them to live in a white society, a European empire.
Now that was code. That was coded. That was coded. Anybody that looks at any kind of empire, not dynasty, not kingdom, but empire. Those words may be synonymous, but there is a difference when you actually look at empires compared to what was known as dynasties and what was known as kingdoms. In empires, I don't have time to really just address that. But the code here is not just racial domination, but the type of racial domination that they want in this country. And what that is black people underfoot, being walked on, literally being walked on. When Donald Trump said "Make America Great Again," going back to those days when white people were held as the standard, the status quo of beauty, health, and all these other things. You know what I'm saying? So they're trying to get back to what America was for white people, not as a nation, because it never was. It was great for white people once upon a time when everything was segregated. But then not so much, because you had things like Black Wall Street, Rosewood, Greenwood, places, like that, or whatever.
You don't consider yourself a racist. I would never say something like I don't like black people. I mean, that's not what I'm about. You don't want me in your neighborhood. Right. I mean, I think the country is fragmenting because at the end of the day, racial differences cannot fundamentally be breached ever.
And he's right about that. He's right about that. Like I said earlier, in the video, that ever since integration, the 1950s, the country has not been the same. Not saying that, for black people it was great then. Matter of fact, right now it's even worse for blacks than it was back then in during those days of integration. We thought that it was good because we were getting a good education, we was getting this and we was getting that. What we were actually doing for ourselves is that we was playing toms. We was playing the coon. You see what I'm saying? We wanted to dance with them. We wanted to shake our butts with them. You see what I'm saying? Like Sister Soldier said, we was trying to get into their party. You see what I'm saying? Literally and figuratively. We were trying to live just like them instead of trying to rehabilitate ourselves and repatriate ourselves to our original state of consciousness, which is an African consciousness or a Moorish consciousness or the Black Jew Hebrew Israelite consciousness or the Kemetic consciousness, whatever you adhere to. They were trying to prevent us, or they have prevented us from reaching back to that original state of consciousness. Even now, the Hebrew Israelites not only have a Hebrew Israelite consciousness, but they have an American marginalized consciousness. You see what I'm saying? They with the Kemetic, which I'm a part of. You want to have this conscience, but then again, you want to be white as well. You want to, you want to ride in white people made cars. You want to live in a white man's made house on white man's land. You know what I'm saying? Paying him land tax. You see what I'm saying? But to each his own. But the consciousness that we had to bring ourselves back to prevents us from actually being the people that we are supposed to be. You see what I'm saying?
Lots of people come up here and talk about equality or opportunity or whatever. That's bullshit. I do care about power. Power is good.
Power is good if you're the boss or you're the slave owner.
I'm not going to help the situation by being a conservative that says, oh, I'm colorblind. We're all the same. God created us equal. That's bullshit.
Now, he's right. And this is why a lot of people have to not like Richard Spencer, but actually have respect for Richard Spencer. Richard Spencer is one of those people that you do have to watch. If you are subscribed to anything that gives you news feeds and Richard Spencer name pops up, you have to read it. Simply because if you want to know your enemy, this is him. This is the enemy that's on the front line. And I feel like Richard Spencer is really a puppet for somebody else's agenda. Because there are certain things that he say and the way that he says them that makes him look like he's an over the top radical white supremacist. And he's kind of sloppy with it. There are arguments that he gets in that it seems like he purposely loses in order for I don't know, but it seems like he purposely loses arguments sometimes. There are things that he says without thinking, really just thinking about it. He's almost like a Tommy Lauren, in my opinion, on a political scale, just to be seen. But what he's saying, he's basically the Trojan horse. You know what I'm saying? He's basically the Trojan horse. You know what I'm saying? He is the what do they call it? The envoy or messenger, you know what I'm saying, of what's to come before it comes. You know what I'm saying? He's the calm before the storm, so to speak.
Wait, and bullshit never helps.
You don't believe in equality at all?
No. Equality? No. That's nonsense. There's no equality in nature.
It is.
There's difference.
We don't want anything different in life than you do.
Are you sure about that? You just want what white people want?
Yes.
Yes?
I want a good family.
Yeah.
I want a good job.
Check it out.
I want my daughter to live in a world where she's doesn't have to worry about discrimination. That's all we want.
Now, Charles Barkley is under the assumption. See, this is the price that you pay for having a coon or Tom sellout mindset. Is that you really do think that white people want the exact same thing that you want. That is what you think. You think that you want what white people want. You think that the things that Charles Barkley named, that's what anybody wants, yes. But when you have to remember that we're constantly at war with these people. We are constantly at war with these people. And being in war, you have to not underestimate your enemy. And because you are a coon, and you think like a coon, and you think like a buck dancing Tom, you're not going to see that your enemy actually has plans, you know what I'm saying, to undermine whatever you think, you know what I'm saying, is constantly war with them. And they don't just want to live at peace, because they never can, with the thought that their child may be subjected to interracial dating, things of that nature. They don't want their children being around us to begin with. That is something that you have to keep in mind.
But in your world, if you get your dream, you're going to kill our dreams. That's the problem.
Now, This now what Charles Barkley what Charles Barkley just basically said was, if you achieve your white supremacist dream, we won't be able to achieve ours. So basically, they're trying to get Richard Spencer to come to be subjected to their idea of what white people should be. Black people need to change their idea of what they want in life. It's easy. You can have a family. You can succeed without, you know, being you can succeed without being what word am I looking for? Like actually having money and things like that and whatnot. Uh Hold on for a second. Okay. Yeah, I'm back. Um let's play this.
If you get your dream, you're going to kill our dreams. That's the problem.
Yeah, see, black people need to change their idea of what success is. And success doesn't just mean, having money and this, that, and third. See, that is white people's idea of success. You see what I'm saying? To be successful is really just to have a family that loves you, appreciates you. You know what I'm saying? At least enough money. You know what I'm saying, that you don't be living paycheck to paycheck. You see what I'm saying? Now that is successful. Having your own business, yeah, that's somewhat of successful. But real success is really just, are you happy with what you have at the end of the day? And if as long as you have a matter of fact, let's do this, because white people, I know that there's some watching this, and their perception of reality is way much more different than our perception of reality. And I really feel like they have no perception of reality at all. That they're constantly living in fantasy. But let's see this. We're gonna look up the word success based on the the Oxford English Dictionary. It says the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. You see what I'm saying? So it's what is your purpose in life? You know what I'm saying? What are you trying to achieve? You know what I'm saying? As long as you're trying to achieve what the next man is achieving, that makes him happy, then you're never really gonna be happy. You see what I'm saying? This is why I follow people like Raul Nefer Amen and Mortai Ashby, because their philosophy of life is actually what I've always thought that it was. I'm not telling you to follow them. What I'm saying is that if anything, you should just be aiming for peace. That's it. You know what I'm saying? If you're not at a state of peace, you know what I'm saying, you're never gonna be what you perceive as happy. You know what I'm saying?
It's like you want to put your foot on our throats. Welcome back, Charles.
That's Phil.
All Charles is talking about, all I'm talking about is we want those three American values: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
That bullshit. That's that bullshit.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Sounds very enlightenment. I'm tempted to say faggy, to be honest.
You see what I'm saying? Let me let him finish saying this.
Liberty and the pursuit of happiness.
Those three American values: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Sounds very
Listen to him.
enlightenment. I'm tempted to say faggy, to be honest. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Did you hear him? He said that sounds faggoty. That sounds homosexual to him. You see what I'm saying? You sitting up here thinking that white people, that You really don't put any thought into what is on a white person's mind and what white people try to achieve. Simple-minded black person, you think that racism is over and that racism isn't something that we actually deal with in this country, but it is. It is something that we deal with on a very high scale, more than you could imagine. More than you can imagine. For him to think that, uh, that these three things that, the pursuit of happiness and, life, liberty, and this, that is bullshit. And it has always been bullshit since the founding fathers, as they want to call them, wrote it in their Declaration of Independence. This was just some shit that they wanted to say, in order to be cut off from Britain. You see what I'm saying? They never meant one word of it. Because how could you speak about equality and justice and freedom when you got slaves that you treat like shit? You see what I'm saying?
For 400 years, you've oppressed my people, okay? And the rhetoric you're spewing is more oppression. The generation I come from and the generations to come are not going to stand for that because we're not going backwards. We're here now, whether you like the equality or not. And it's nothing that this country can do except for embrace their American values.
Now, I gotta cut him off because everything that he just said was just full of shit. When he was saying that we're not moving backwards, you have to think. See, he got the mindset that racism was a thing of the past. Racism never ended. They only changed the strategy. Remember, we are constantly at war. If you're not at peace with somebody, you're at war with them. The opposite of peace is war. Unrest. You see what I'm saying? Whether it's within yourself, whether it's with your family, whether it's with, other people, friends, you know what I'm saying? Just in society, in general. If you're not at peace, you're at war with somebody. And to think that you're not at war with your oppressor or someone who used to be in your mind, used to be an oppressor, you really need to look and see are there any more of them? And if there are any more of them, how do I protect myself from them? How do I stay prepared and ready to fight, against, that person if that person is to come in my direction? You can't call the police on them. You know what I'm saying? They got the police tied up. But
for every American and the millions.
Yeah, that's what this so-called American dream. That's bullshit. The American dream is only it's only an ideal. And like the meme says somebody made, you know what I'm saying, the American dream only makes sense when you're sleeping. No, that was George I forget his name, but the white comedian guy. The American dream only makes sense when you are sleeping. Why is it, black people? Simple-minded black person who's watching this. I know you don't like being called a simple-minded, but that's exactly what you are. If the shoe fits, wear it. Okay. You have to. Why is it that white people understand this idea of the American dream as being bullshit, but you don't? You see what I'm saying? The reason that black people soak up this American dream shit is because after slavery, that's all we had was dreams. And for this country, in our mind, to be trying to achieve something that, is damn near unachievable, and they somehow achieve it, We say to ourselves, okay, I can achieve it too. I can achieve this American dream as well. But what they're telling you that the American dream is, once you get it, you find out that racism exists there even worse than it did where where you came from. If you started from the bottom and there was racism at the bottom and you trying to get to the top and you eventually get to the top and there's racism there at the top, there is no difference between the bottom and the top. So the American dream doesn't exist. It does not exist. As long as racism exists, the American dream cannot. You can only go to sleep to get that one.
People that want to become American. So what needs to happen is the world as you see it right now.
Now what he said about people trying to become American. Now, obviously, he doesn't follow Trump. And we see what Trump is trying to do. And Charles Barkley just said it. You're trying to send the Mexicans, Latinos, you're trying to send the Mexicans back to Mexico. And you're sending all the refugees and you sending all of these people back. You exporting them back to where they came from. So you're basically saying that whoever was a citizen here, and black people, if we weren't in slavery, they would have been sending our ass back too. If we were not enslaved, they would have been sending us back too. Because the only reason that we're still here, we're only here by default. Because it's almost like a guilt. They don't feel no guilt, but it's more like, well, damn. If we send the Africans back to Africa, or the African Americans back to Africa, then, we ourselves, we would have to go back to wherever the hell it was we came from. You see what I'm saying? It almost would make yourself look bad in front of the other national leaders, because you have an excuse to send the Mexicans back. Oh, they're illegal. They're illegal. They cross the border. They don't have their papers. You see what I'm saying? And the same thing with the refugees and the Syrians and all those people who came over here illegally. So you're going to say that they don't belong here, and anybody who looks like them, they would have to go as well. So it makes that discrimination a little bit easier.
You need to start embracing the world when we see it, and we can come to some understanding.
Did you see? Now this is what I said earlier. He said you need to start embracing the world the way that we see it. That means that you would have to have the answers to life if you want someone to embrace the world the way that you see it. And white people automatically don't think anything of you already. They don't think shit of you. So why would they want to see the world the way that you see the world? They have everything figured out. In their minds, they have everything figured out. When you have people that's backing them, like a Thomas Sotomayor and some black guy, and all of these other black YouTubers who project these white people's insecurities onto black people, they don't have to listen to us. They don't have to listen to the way that we view life, because they have their coons, they have their sellouts who, that they admire. You see what I'm saying? They don't have to listen to us. They don't have to listen to a damn thing that and our view of life is, to them, our view of life is fucked up. And in some cases it is. For those black people who want to continue integrating and interracial dating, and who want to keep this thing going with white people, living with them, partying with them, shaking your butts with them, they're going to automatically think that your view of life is fucked up. You have to be an opponent to them. They need you to be an opponent. You see what I'm saying? And if you're not an opponent, you're just, it's almost like, someone having I would hate to just throw this, being that anime is on the rise again. I'll just go ahead and use that as an example. Dragon Ball Z and how the Saiyans would, they wouldn't fight anybody that was not their equal. It was a waste of time to them. And matter of fact, this is a perfect example because Saiyans was monkeys. You see what I'm saying? And this is where white people came from. They came from monkeys. For those black guys, you know what I'm saying, who grew up around the time I did, I think it still comes on or something like that. If you remember, whenever they fought and they lost, they actually got stronger. And this is pretty much why white people need an opponent. They need an opponent. You know what I'm saying? Just you little simple, you know what I'm saying, coons, you coons, toms, and sellouts, y'all aren't shit to them. This is why when you get done doing the shit that they want you to do, they easily discard you. But they remember people like Hannibal. You see what I'm saying? And this is why they try to paint him white. They remember the Egyptians. The Egyptians were the best opponents that they could ever have. And they tried to paint them white. And they tried to paint them white literally. They remember people like Malcolm X. And they tried to discredit his character. They remember people like Elijah Muhammad. And they tried to taint his character. They remember Marcus Garvey. They remember Booker T. Washington. They remember these radical black men because these men were worthy opponents.
We can coexist.
Okay, and Richard Spencer is laughing his ass off at Mr. Muhammad, saying that we could coexist. We cannot. We cannot. And if black people don't get their heads in the game, they're really gonna be feeling the effects of what's to come deeper than what. Look, Gil Scott-Heron has a song called The King, or a poem called The King Alfred Plan. Now, a lot of people have tried to debunk it. Some people have tried to discredit it. But listen to what Gil Scott-Heron says in The King Alfred Plan. And you really should take it to heart and start doing research. Look at HARP. You see what I'm saying? Look at the chemtrail things that they're doing. Fluoride in the water. If they don't have concentration camps, now that we've already seen them, but if you refuse to believe that, if you refuse to, after seeing with your own eyes, just look at that. And not see that America itself is one big concentration camp. It's one big plantation. You see what I'm saying?
Your great-great-grandkids, are going to be brown.
Now, that's what he told Richard Spencer. He said that your great-great-grandkids are going to be brown. Now, I highly doubt that because of the and you should see, now this isn't the way that Richard Spencer is laughing in this interview is not a laugh of embarrassment or, he just think that this shit is funny. He's laughing like these niggas do not get it. The way that white people raise their children, the way that these white people raise their children is far more different than the way that black people raise their children. These white people, they know, and this is why the whole black on black crime thing continues. This is why the whole baby mama, baby daddy drama continues. This is why the welfare food stamp, this, that, and third continues in the black community. This is why the black community never advances in society, because we do not remember where we came from. We were told where we came from. And so we try to bounce off of that. And like it's the ideologies and the philosophies and these different things that separate black people from each other. And this is why we cannot advance in society. We can't really just teach our children something that is concrete. Over here, we got black people that practice Yoruba. Over here, we got black people that practice Baptist ideology. We got black people over here that practice Islam. We got black people over here. We're so divided. And we really can't teach our children, the way that white people teach their children, because they don't have to worry about where we came from. All they know is that we're here in America now. America is ours, and this is why they can say that America is theirs. They can say that America is theirs because they're the ones that's actually moving and advancing in America. You see what I'm saying? And this is the privilege. This is part of the privilege that they created for themselves. By preventing black people from advancing, black people really just have each other to blame for our own downfall. You see what I'm saying? This is why they always bring up, what about black on black crime? What about this? What about that? What about this? You're constantly doing this to yourself. And why do you blame me? Why do you blame Whitey for your inability to advance in society? And the reason that we blame Whitey for our inability to advance is because they pinned us against each other. Whether you want to believe in the Willie Lynch letter or not, whether you want to say it was fake or not, the Willie Lynch letter was true in what it said at the very beginning of that letter. Is that you put this nigga against this nigga, you put that nigga against that nigga, and by them constantly being in conflict with each other, who are they going to look to as the perfect person? They're going to always look to the white man. You're going to always model yourself after the white man. You're going to fuck like the white man fuck. You're going to buy the way that the white man buys. You're going to experience things the way that the white man experiences them. And if you don't, you're not going to be happy about it. You see what I'm saying?
That disturbed me, that anybody who's interjected themselves into American politics the way he has does not believe in American values. And I think the world should know that.
Now, he believes in American values. It's just that our idea of American values is not on par with the way that they perceive it. They created this shit. They created the whole American dream and American values shit. Who are we to say that it is not?
That particular movement is not an American movement.
Obviously, I disagree. 100% wouldn't do it justice. 1,000% wouldn't do it justice. I tried to treat him with respect and dignity, which I did. But in my heart, I had some anger. I mean, it was frustrating and tough to listen to that stuff. I'm very proud to be black. Yeah. I'm going to be successful for my ancestors. Yeah. Because they went through a lot of crap to put me in a position to be successful. The idea that this type of racism still exists is sad, makes me angry. We got to get past all this division because we're not going backwards, we're only going forward.
Now, I'm going to tell you now, Richard Spencer doesn't care about that I'm going to do this for my ancestors, I'm going to do that for my ancestors. Richard Spencer's looking like, bring it. Bring it. We're going to see who is the best. We're going to see who's the strongest. We're going to see who's actually going to survive this war. This race war. This race war that white people keep talking about. Because where you sit, now check this out. These people are global celebrities. Charles Barkley, people like that. You know what I'm saying? They're global celebrities. They go around the world. And I promise you, everywhere that they go, they see the racism there, but they choose not to address it the way that it should be addressed. They keep saying, we have to move past this. We're bigger than this. No, that's the reality. And you are constantly living in this fantasy that everything is going to be all right. We're going to get past this. They're going to get theirs. God's going to come back and do this. God is going to come back and do that. Look, y'all been waiting for all these years, and y'all ass is still going to be waiting. There is no getting past this. You can sit there in your house, eating your food, until one of them niggas come by your house and purge your ass. Straight up purge your ass. You can sit there and not be prepared. They are constantly getting ready. While our children is twerking, while our children is out here fucking, while our children is out here trying to ball and trying to bang and all of this shit, guess what they children is doing? They children got bow and arrows and shit. They out there duck hunting, deer hunting, wrestling with motherfucking animals and shit. You can be ill prepared all you want. But when that time comes, you can sit there and pray. You can pray all damn day. But your prayer is not going to stop the inevitable. The shit is happening now. Our sister that was found hung. You see what I'm saying? The way that these police is killing our kids. These judges that's found dead and somehow they committed suicide. Y'all can sit here and play all y'all want, but they are continuously advancing at our expense. Our ignorance is causing them to advance further in society. You can play dumb. You can turn your head. You can act like it's not happening. But when you close your eyes and you open your eyes and you think that it's all gone, it's going to be right there in your face, and it's probably be worse. It probably be worse. Black people, conscious community, y'all want to sit up here and keep arguing about all this bullshit that don't make no damn sense? You trying to make sense out of shit that don't make sense? Y'all ready. But the people that's following y'all ass is not ready. You busy arguing about the metal netter. You busy arguing about the elders and this, that, and third. You over here, you arguing about this, that, and third. Nobody, you're not helping your people advance in any kind of way. You're so busy worried about religion. You're so busy worried about the conscious community. You're so busy worried about, man, all of that bullshit. It don't mean shit to these white people because they got their shit already figured out. While you sitting here arguing about it, they're advancing in it. And when they kill you off, your argument didn't mean shit. They killed you and they took your fucking religion. They killed you and they took your philosophy. They killed you and they took your ideologies and your doctrine. All of this arguing over petty shit, where is it getting us? Oh, these over here, they want to talk about Dr. York. Oh, these over here, they want to talk about Umar Johnson. These over here, they want to talk about Sarnetta. These over here, they want to talk about him. They want to talk about Seti. They want to talk about Pharaoh. All of y'all is wasting motherfucking time, man. Y'all wasting all of this time arguing and bickering over bullshit that does not help advance the black community as a whole. Even let alone the conscious community. The conscious community is still stagnated. The only people that's really making moves in the conscious community, blue pill, red pill, Sarnetta. These the only ones. At least red pill and blue pill talk about the politics. And then you got KT the Arc Degree, who's showing black people the bullshit that they put in our movies. But what are you doing? What are you doing besides talking about the next motherfucker in the conscious community? I done already had a view on that shit. I'm done.